Good morning. I'd like to start this meeting for the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors regular session for July 7th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Brandt?
Here.
Hall?
Here.
Kurtenbach?
Here.
Schwartz?
Here.
Leyland?
Here. Would everyone please join us for a moment of silence as we reflect on our actions here today? Thank you. Would you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1, agenda received as proposed or as amended.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is received. Item 2, public comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on something that is not on today's agenda? Anyone online? All right.
Nope.
Oh, great.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Sue Warner with the County Attorney's Office. Jeremy was a very good prosecutor who was upstairs, in fact, in trial right now. He's our felony drug prosecutor, so he's unable to be here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think she's here.
Item number 3, Years of Service Award to employees with 20 or more years of service.
We had one today, and I think she just spoke to it. Jeremy Westendorf with 20 years of service in the county attorney's office.
Great. Thank you so much. I was going to say for that. Yep, thanks, Tim. Thank him for his service, and we'll look for him later, maybe to see him in person and thank him personally. Thank you. Item 4, claims and payments. This is a resolution that the Board of Supervisors approve expenditures and that the county auditor be authorized and directed to issue payments against the various settlement of such claims as allowed.
So moved. Second.
Michelle.
Good morning, Board. Our total bill payment today is $638,183.24. Out of that, we're paying $3,091.25 from the 60/40 fund. And just some of the larger payments today, we are making an annual payment for the Tyler Enterprise System that does all our payroll and accounting for $117,606.90. And anything there that might be, oh, one more. We're also making a down payment for our work comp today, $92,359, and those are all the large ones. Everything appears to be in order. Any questions for me today?
None.
This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Brandt?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Kurtenbach?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Leyland?
Yes. Item 5, receive project updates from department heads and elected officials.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, engineer. A few roads were closed over the weekend due to high water. It kept our on-call guy pretty busy, putting up barricades, taking down barricades. I think today we just have one road still closed, Team Road, and that's east of Dunkerton over on the Wapsipinicon River. So when the water goes back down later in the week, all roads should be open, barring any more heavy rains. Our contractor Taylor Construction should be moving in next week on our Winslow Road Bridge Replacement Project. Blacktop Services, our contract seal coater this year, they will be moving in next week as well. They've been delayed several days due to just the recent rains. So they should be coming in next week as well. And then we have been meeting in the engineer's office to talk about our process of transitioning our roads from the 55 to the 60 miles per hour speed limits. We do have a process in place. We will begin working on that shortly. I've told you how construction is our top priority at this time of year, so that will be our main focus, and we'll be driving the roads in the next several weeks over the next couple months to get that accomplished. Can I answer any questions on that? Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks for the email, Kathy. It was very informative yesterday. Okay.
Good morning, Board. Yolando Lovelace, Veteran Services. This is my 6th year with the end of the year kind of report. Just want to share a couple of slides of the combination of things that our staff has been doing over the fiscal year. First of all, I just want to thank the Board of Supervisors, the county itself, and everyone else that participated in America 250, that 4-day program with the Experience Waterloo, with the fireworks. I'm just hoping that we re-energize our patriotic approach and attitudes as we go forward in the rest of the year. It was a great reminder of, red, white, and blue, what we stand for in defending the flag. And I just hope that our county, our city, and our state just refocuses on the love of this country. So thank you guys for participating. I've seen Supervisor Leyland there. She had an opportunity to say thank you and welcome. It was 4 welcomes, wasn't it?
Yep, at least 4.
So, but I thought it was a great event. We had some staff participate in all 4 days of doing the flags. And so another great opportunity for the city, the state, and the county. Just real quick on the FY26 staff milestones, a couple things that I wanted to point out. It's 174 gift bags that went out to various nursing homes, senior living facilities that our staff put together. Participated in 41 funerals. I bring that up because it does show that we care from our office when we participate in those veteran funerals. Keeping in line with America 250, I think I'm over 250 veteran funerals since I've been elected in this position, or not elected, but hired in this position. And then the Veterans on the Hill was also a great highlight for the fiscal year. In donations and grants, so we took in about $1,600 for the month of June. But the highlight is sharing how we did over the fiscal year. We ended up bringing in about $13,000, short of about $2,000. I think when I interact with Michelle, I say we want to budget for $15K. We have made that over the last couple of years. This year we're coming up just a little short, but just showing you the combination of numbers. In particular, our December was our highest month. As we get into the holidays, that's when we see a lot of donations come in. And then just recently, over the last 2 days, we received $5,553 in just in donations. One was just a $5,000 donation on behalf or in name of a veteran. So it does matter when we get out there and interact with our community. And then veterans helping veterans in a standpoint of what we do, our primary job. You can see June was our highest number of, when it comes to retro pay for our veterans in our county, over 349,000. And the FY total for 26, I got that collectively up here. You can see over the 12-month period for the retro pay that the federal government is paying veterans and their surviving spouses for the 12-month period, about $2.3 million is what went back to the county, went back to those veterans who deserve it and their surviving spouses. And that now is some money that will get invested right here in Black Hawk County. So that's the reason why we really look at the impact, because it is a financial impact on behalf of those veterans. Nothing that we do in the standpoint of our office other than file the paperwork. It's the federal government that does the approval, but it's good to track how well and how successful some of our claims are as we help our veterans. And then in comparison with previous years, one thing that you'll note is we're declining just a little bit when it comes to our initial veterans going down. We were pretty high in 24, did a dip in 25, but we're starting to climb back up in 26. So we're looking at that, about 1786 as initial veterans that came in our doors 2026 fiscal year. And then the other meat to the potatoes is how many new veterans that come into our door. And you can see there is a little dip there also from 2024 was a pretty good year. 25, we dipped down, and 26, we're kind of maintaining. So we're looking at, again, the goal is to get about 300 new veterans in and about 2,000 coming in our doors. That's a goal that we set, and that we can track ourselves based off of that. Then our impact from us, from our donated funds, and I know that our Our county finance director likes that we're spending the donated funds. We spent $24,000 of the donated funds in various months helping veterans. And then the county expense, we spent about $31,000 for the fiscal year. And then out of the trust fund, we helped veterans up to $85,000 distributed from the Iowa Trust Fund for various repairs of their homes and vehicles. And then you can kind of see where we're still standing as we continue to try to help the other 98 counties move Iowa from the 46th position to the 45th position. I think we're doing a darn good job from our county standpoint based off the numbers. And hopefully by next year, we could be able to report that we have moved the state, not just the county, but the state, because we're doing this as a collective. And we look at one team, one fight in that standpoint. And then our monthly, you can see those totals there, and I'll be sharing these slides, but about $3,600 in financial assistance with funeral and rental. Again, my biggest thing is how do we articulate to our veterans to take advantage of the VA offers up to $40,000 in life insurance if they are service connected. It's getting the veterans to participate in that kind of a program. But as you can see, our biggest expense from the county standpoint is helping veteran families provide the resources available for the cremations to help them with their funeral expenses. And that's been consistent the last 3 or 4 years. We spend more in helping veterans with funeral expenses than we do with anything else. And then how we come out for the fiscal year. As you can see, prior year, we only spent $20,000 in county funds, but this particular year, we spent $31,000. So about $11,000 difference. And this helps us out when we look at budgeting. And the biggest thing is we'll probably have to do is, you can see we're at 97% with funeral assistance or expenses. We may have to move that over a little bit and take from one of the other locations as we look at budgeting for 2027, 2028. And then a couple things, the Warrior Expedition, thanks to Experience Waterloo and the county board supervisors and our commission, we took in 6 of those riders, and they were provided hotel stay, and they really enjoyed themselves. And we've been doing this for about 6 years now. We're glad that Conservation, Mike and his crew is keeping the path open so that those guys can ride safely through the state of Iowa. And our lunches are still going through, and everyone's still pretty happy. We also had participated in My Waterloo Days in the month of June, and we had a birthday for one of our veterans who was 90 years old. Just sharing that information right there, and just standing by to address any other questions or concerns.
Yolanda, I was going to ask, do you guys ever work with Colleen as far as funeral expense help for veterans particularly?
So the only time we recommend them going to county is if the veteran does not have an honorable discharge. So if a veteran has a dishonorable discharge, they're not considered a veteran for relief. And then that's when we interact with Colleen and her staff to get that veteran those assistance.
Okay.
Great question, though. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with an update? Anyone online with an update? Item 6, minutes approved for June 30, 2026.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Item 7 is a consent agenda. The following items are acted upon by a single resolution unless someone wishes to pull an item for discussion.
So moved. Second.
This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Hall,
Yes.
Kurtenbach,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item 8, contracts and agreements. Resolution that the lowest responsible bid received from Odin Enterprises, Wahoo, Nebraska, letting held June 30, 2026 at 10:25 a.m. for project L-3031, steel materials for Amesboro Avenue Bridge, number 74445, with a total bid of $96,595.28. The engineer's estimate was $71,450. Be awarded and direct the chair to sign resolution authorizing the county engineer to sign the contract and to receive and place on file the contractor's bond and certificate of insurance as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, county engineer.
So moved. Second.
Good morning again, Board. You just read the bid and then our engineer's estimate. So unfortunately, our engineer's estimate was about 35% under our lowest bid. We are hearing from these vendors that steel is getting more expensive, particularly structural steel items. I wrote you a short email about that. This does not seem to be letting up anytime soon. I mean, we're not hearing that, and I don't know if we would hear that in the first place, but it is important that we stay on top of our bridge replacements. We could be behind in just a few short years, and we do not want that to happen. So I would recommend that you take the bid from Odin and we be allowed to purchase the steel, and then we will not be receiving this steel until about Thanksgiving is what we're hearing. So it's taking about 4 to 5 months now instead of about 4 to 5 weeks like it was a year ago. So this will keep us busy through the winter as we build new beams for our Amesboro Road Bridge replacement next year is our plan. Can I answer any questions?
Kathy, ballpark, what's the length of this one?
The length of this
Of the
bridge?
bridge, yeah.
It's between 30 and 40 feet because that's what our bridge crew builds. So I don't know if it's 30 or 40, but it's that length.
And I keep bringing this up with the rail car thing, so I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but if steel is going to continually increase in cost, might we be close to the time where we start exploring doing this?
So
It could save $50,000. I'm just throwing a number out there.
So the rail cars are going up as well. They're steel. I've told you some of our concerns about that, but we can certainly invite a speaker in to talk about this with you at a future board meeting. I can, as you may know, Buchanan County, that former engineer, he's retired. He would be more than happy to come and speak about
Right.
the,
Brian?
yeah, yes. We can have him come in July or yet this month, if that's agreeable to you.
Yeah, I
He
think that would be
can
good.
come and address that. And we can talk about some of our other concerns from the structural point of view with these bridges.
We just set up a work session type of thing
Sure.
with that.
If he's, yeah.
Yeah,
if you wanna
I
check
will,
with days he's
um,
available, yeah.
Contact Brian and see what his schedule is.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kathy, sorry, on
Yes.
looking, as we're going into the new fiscal year, are the other engineer estimates, or should we expect to see those off as well, or are some of these price adjustments already sort of baked into the cake on some of those future engineer estimates?
It depends on the type of work, and this is very apparent because it's just for the steel itself. Of course, our future bridge projects, we can go by what DOT pricing has been and also what other counties have been. We are constantly seeing that information. That is how we are coming up with our engineers' estimates for all of our future projects. We will continue to keep an eye on that. Yes, we probably will see a slight increase in projects that involve steel, but I can keep you posted on that. We know that some of these bundled projects, for example, our Eagle Road Bridge project is going to be bundled next year with a Buchanan County project. We're hoping to see some savings by bundling our bridge projects. So I will talk to our bridge engineer, and we can keep you posted on that side of it.
Thank you.
Good question, thank you.
This is a resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Kurtenbach,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item 9, other business, resolution to approve the IRS Form 720 to remit payment of $2,328.11 for the county's Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute fee for the 2024-25 plan year as required by the Affordable Care Act be approved, and direct the chair to sign as recommended by Tim Jamison, Systems Real Estate Tax Manager, and Cottingham and Butler.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Jamison, you want to comment at all? or-
It's just an annual fee. Everybody that has a health insurance program has to pay. I don't know exactly what the Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute studies, but My assumption is they're looking for ways to improve healthcare nationally. It's not really an option, this is a tax.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill, for the clarification. This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Kuhn, Kurtenbach.
Yes.
I shortened your name in my list here.
Board member.
Leyland,
Yes.
sorry.
Item B, resolution to request approval to proceed with additional exterior renovation work for the Pinecrest renovation project located at 1407 Independence Avenue, Waterloo, in the amount of $200,738 received from Peters Construction, be approved and for chair to sign for same as recommended by Envision and Roy Giving, Facilities Director.
So moved.
Good morning, Board. Roy Giving,
Second.
Facilities Director. This is an addition to the Pinecrest project. As you know, we've been looking at these entryways for some time now. I've been working with Envision Architect to come up with a corrective action, a design. Much of this cost, and I'll show you a few photos here, but what we've discovered is a lack of frost footings on all three of these entryways, which has caused a pretty extensive amount of damage to the foundation itself on the building. So that's where a lot of this cost is coming from. But also the entryways, the storefronts themselves, as you can see in that breakdown that I had sent, that was a pretty extensive piece of this as well. So what this project will do, it'll get 3 new storefronts, new stoops, new concrete approaches, frost footings. Really should set us up for many years to come for this facility. I just wanted to share one picture just to kind of give you an idea. This is actually the southeast entryway. You can see the extensive damage that was discovered once we removed the floor in that area. We did actually have a budget item in previous years to replace the stairs. Fortunately, we held off on that because this could completely change the scope of the project. Now we need to redo that facing and tie that into a new section of building. So any questions on that? I know that's a pretty extensive change order at a little over $200,000. For the contract, just to kind of give you a frame of reference, we are at $5,907,000 and some odd change. The original contract sum was 5.4, and this is just for the construction portion of the project, so this does not include design fees, soft cost, which would include furniture and so forth. Been working with Michelle to break down the cost on this. I know some other departments have come in under on some ARPA projects, and so we feel pretty confident that we'll be able to get this taken care of under the ARPA fund or replacement revenue. And Michelle, I don't know if you want to add to that or not.
Well, you might not want me to. So we did plan to use all of our ARPA funding, and the board has already previously committed at least $850,000 of other sources. And I think this will likely increase those other sources, but we have the funding and I don't think it's an issue.
This in addition to the 850, you mean?
Correct, yeah, and
I'm sure.
You said currently the project's at 5.9. Does that include this 200,000 or will that bump it up to 6.1?
No, that includes the 200. And keep in mind, again, that is just the construction portion of this project.
Now, Rory, is this a entryway double doored or is that actually the interior side of the building?
This particular one that I'm showing you here is, it's a double door, but it's not a vestibule area.
Okay.
And so what you're seeing here is actually the hallway going to that exterior egress door. The other two, the main entry, that will have a vestibule, which was We'll have an air curtain put in between that, which is part of the project. What was not included in the project, though, is replacing that storefront and correcting the stoop, the approach to that. We are taking an advantage of why we have concrete project going on, taking care of some of the sidewalk that's in the adjacent areas that are damaged. We just felt that it made sense why we had the contractors there to get that addressed as well. And there'll be also some line striping involved in this project too.
And this was not able to be discovered before he pulled the carpet off?
We knew we had budgeted to replace the stairs, but we didn't know the extent of the internal damage on this particular entryway. The other entryways, let's see.
Gonna be my question if this was like the other stoops as well. But
Yeah, so this one here, you can kind of, let me zoom in. You can kind of see how the concrete's domed. That's a pretty good indicator that that frost footing is failing in there. In fact, previously we have put a metal plate in there to alleviate a tripping hazard, and that's just continually has just over the time gotten worse. So we knew we had this situation and we were going to budget for a new storefront, but what we didn't know was the extent of the damage out here with the frost footings.
Okay.
How do I go? Yeah, there's that plate that we had put in place. So that'll all be redone. This is the former VA. This was a find when we started working in that. In fact, this corner of the door, if you push on it, it's pinned on the side of the building. That's all rotted away. We did not see that until we started doing the project and had that kind of traffic going in and out of there. And that will be a vestibuled area as well. And so what we're proposing is doing these in phases so we can direct traffic through the building. So what we'd like to do is hold off moving the health department into the clinic just to allow foot traffic through that particular entryway while the clinic is not active in that area. So what we're looking at for a timeline, we're looking at about mid-September for 100%. We're hoping we can get at least 2 of these entryways done by mid-August and get the clinic down there still within the August date. That's our goal. We are going to be somewhat dependent on materials. These storefronts coming in and lead times. The concrete, I've been assured that that's not an issue. It's going to be more so the materials and lead times on those that are going to kind of dictate the timing of this project. But our goal, again, is going to be mid-September for 100%. Any questions on that?
as far as overall completion of that facility, then that would be it.
This will be close to the final stages. We will have another change order, which will include this. So this is not necessarily the formal change order what we're asking for. This is just approval to get that process started and get materials ordered, and then Envision will put together the change order for signing at a later date. That change order will also include about $1,500 worth of corner guards that we added in the clinic area that was outside the project. But for the most part, everything inside is complete.
So we should have no problem with that December
No.
26th date line for that whole project, it sounds like.
I was hoping for September, but I think that just went out the window.
There's still hope, Michelle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll trust you.
There's a couple months in there before we hit December.
Yes.
To get time. Yeah.
That would be barring any other unforeseen findings too, right?
Yeah, we feel pretty confident though that with the technology today, that the footings and what they've designed to put in there, that we'll be in good shape. Again, my concern is actually the storefronts themselves. Just knowing that sometimes those have quite a lead time. And this
overall.
is a little bit of a unique, 100-year-old building, so there is a little uniqueness to, especially that main entryway. We will have to forego the glass section above that storefront, just due to sheer cost to try to replace that. We're gonna actually put a blank piece in that. So it'll still have the architectural design, it just will not be glass.
Overall, that building's been very sound. I was gonna say, as far as some of the things that have been done to it, I know over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
It's been well maintained.
A few years back, we were part of the benchmarking program, and I think I probably brought this up before, but it's interesting, with a 100-plus-year-old building, when we did that program, we actually ranked very high as far as energy efficiencies go. We were at, when you look at an Energy Star rating, we came in at a 93%, which is very high for any building, which is good. For a 100-year-old building, it's outstanding. We've put in new boilers, we've got a new chiller system, we've got a new free cooling system that we use in the wintertime. So we were able to reduce the amount of water we put through that building. Now with our new fan coil units, we expect that efficiency to even get better. So, yeah. And the solar field,
And solar,
can't forget the
yeah.
solar field.
No.
Our electric utility bill is $10 a month for that.
$200,000 is a lot of money. People will complain if we spend that. So what if we don't? What are some things that could happen if we don't?
We're gonna have some severe safety issues on those entryways, particularly the one that I showed you with the foundation that's cracking. We really need to have those just for evacuation purposes.
Yeah.
We could get by with it, sealing that entryway for an entry purpose, but for evacuation purposes, we really do need it. The main entryway is just gonna continue to get worse. Ultimately, we're gonna have to do something. We know that the storefront, we've had problems for probably the last 6 months, if not greater, on the storefront doors. In fact, just within the last 2 weeks, I've had on-call people out there 3 times because just the internal mechanisms of those doors are getting wore out. And they were put in 1989, so they've definitely lived their useful life.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Roy.
Pay me now or pay us later? Extra more later.
Well, yeah, kind of need to get these kind of projects done too, so, and be safe. This is a resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Brandt,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Kurtenbach,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item C, motion that the request for purchase of used capital equipment submitted by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer, be approved and direct the chair to sign for same to purchase one 2024 John Deere 50P mini excavator with attachments and a 2,000-hour/60-month warranty from Murphy Tractor, Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of $71,300.
So moved.
Second?
Good morning again, Board. This is the first of our FY27 capital request items for purchase. We did budget $83,000 for a used mini excavator. We are renting a mini excavator several times a year, particularly when the bridge crew is digging around utilities. Fiber optic in particular is very costly if we were to dig into that. So we are finding many uses for a mini excavator. We did opt to have some criteria, some specifications. That would be, we wanted a machine that was less than 5 years old, less than 500 operating hours on the machine, about a 35 horsepower, 30 to 35 gallons per minute main hydraulic pump, air conditioning now, all safety features intact and working, and then several buckets, a ditching bucket, a 24-inch bucket, and a 12-inch bucket. We did, due to the cost being under $100,000, we are not opening bids. We are just soliciting vendors with these specifications in mind. We did come up with about six used mini excavators. Several of them were from Murphy Tractor. We would like to purchase the one mini excavator with 250 hours on it. It does come with a warranty, as I told you about in the email. If you have any questions, Justin Lockard from Murphy Tractor is here. But I would recommend that we be allowed to purchase that machine for $71,300. It does meet the specifications, and it is under budget.
I was just gonna ask you, so people know, average market cost to rent one of those, what, 250 to 3 1/4 a day?
Do you want to come up here, Justin?
Yeah,
Sure.
please.
Please give your name and, yeah, I was gonna say.
Justin Lockard with Murphy Tractor. Yeah, so to answer your question, it is in that range, depending on whether you have it for a daily rental, which a lot of times that's sort of what the scope of the projects are for the county. You know, in this case, if you were to keep the machine longer, it'd be closer to $3,000 per month. So the daily rentals do sort of tend to add up, you know, when it's rental here, rental there, and, you know, especially if it turns into, all of a sudden, a day rental turns into 2 or 3. So, yeah, that would be, you know, pretty close depending on what attachments the machine has on it as far as extra buckets go and everything, so.
Generally, what would this machine cost, brand new?
That is one option we explored whenever the engineer's office reaches out, you know, and asks for any sort of equipment bids or kind of budgeting items. We'll always try and look and sort of see what's in the best interest. So I think we did look at a new machine with similar attachments with no hours, with the discounts that the government does get. I think that was, I'm going back a little bit because we focused the scope on the used machines recently, but I would say I think that was in the 80, you know, mid to upper 80s, depending on what attachments the machine had on it. So, you know, roughly what, 15 to 16 $1,000 more approximately.
Thanks.
And it's coming with the warranty. Where did I say, was it 60 months?
6 months, 2,000 hours, so.
Yeah, so, you know, average hours of use, I would say you'll probably get to the timeline on this machine before you'll get to the hours, just based on, you know, what projects it's being used on. But yeah, it'll be warranted up to 5 years from the purchase date or 2,000 hours, and that's a comprehensive warranty. So, you know, wear and tear items are always excluded from those types of things, or physical damages. But, you know, engines, drive pumps, hydraulics, you know, again, anything that isn't normal wearable items, you know, tracks, bucket teeth, those types of things would be excluded, but otherwise the main components of the machine are covered.
So that 2,000 hours is on top of the 250 it's on it now?
It would be 2,000, good question, 2,000 total hours. So once
Okay.
the machine shows 2,000 hours on it, that would be the extent of the warranty coverage.
Okay.
Kathy, how long do you think this machine would be in use?
Well, as long as we can keep it going, probably 10, 12, 15 years. Would that be a reasonable
Based
expectation?
on, you know, we have a lot of contractors that will be their daily use machine. I mean, we have these machines that are out there, they're running, you know, 3,000-4,000 hours. I mean, an excavator in a county setting, I mean, I think going back to maybe some of the, you know, the bigger units that we've had, I think those are usually on like a 12-year trade cycle or so roughly. I mean, with a machine like this, you very easily, you know, you figure at 12 years, if you put 200-300 hours a year on it, I mean, it's gonna be well within what the reputation of the Deer Mini excavator would, the county would get that use out of it, I would imagine, very easily, you know, before you'd wanna look at replacing it if it was something that, you know, is an important part of the operation. So, yeah, I mean, easily 10, 12, it'd be more so just when they would decide that their trade cycle would be, you know, coming to an end, so.
And Kathy, we have garage space to keep this out of the weather during the winter months?
Yes, we currently would store it in the northwest shed out at Longfellow.
Okay.
You got room in your garage, don't you?
Not no more.
Any other questions?
I'm good, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you both. This motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item D, discussion and possible board action, request from National Cattle Congress for $25,000 for marketing activities.
Good morning. Deb Pullen Van Auken, President of the Board of the National Cattle Congress. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today. You have supported us in the past at this same level, and we greatly appreciate that. You'll see that I gave you all, I emailed it last night, so I apologize for that I didn't get this earlier. But our final marketing strategy that we came up with, we put this out for bid. Basically, asked 2 companies to give us information on what we could do. We actually this year, before we've been going with one company, Impact Marketing, but we're going to break that up this year based on the presentations that were given to us by both companies. You'll see that Impact Marketing is doing all of our radio and TV ad placements, as well as putting together a radio commercial. We have greatly reduced the amount of money we're spending on radio this year based on information from multiple sources. And I put my foot down this year and said, this is it, this is all we're going to do. So we did expand, however, we're doing KWWL, who is going to put together our TV commercial at a reduced price from what we were quoted from the other companies. But we are also adding KCRG to try to expand into the Cedar Rapids market, where we see that we could probably get some traction, especially on our rodeo. Our production costs are listed there as well. We are doing some things in-house this year. I'll just skip down to the part below that. We are developing our own brochure, which we have paid for in the past, and we will be initiating our own printing on that to help save some money there. KWWL is going to do our TV production on our commercial, saving us again money from Impact Marketing. On Media is going to do a lot of our digital and online presence and expanding in that area greatly. However, our social media and brochure design will be in-house. We have somebody on staff that's been doing that. However, we're going to have a summer intern this year, a marketing major from UNI, who will be helping with that as well. You may be wondering, okay, so what's going to happen at Cattle Congress this year? What are we going to do? As always, we have program discovery, which is a huge, huge boost to the children in this area. It is all the second graders in the area. We'll get 1,100 to 1,400 kids spending a whole day at the fair. This is over a 3-day period. They come for a day. Excuse me. This has been a phenomenal program. I believe it's in like its 35th year, but it's a fantastic program. I invite all of you to contact me to come and see this program because it is quite amazing. We are also going to have our rodeo back on Friday and Saturday. You'll note that in the on media area, we're doing some geofencing. That is, I don't know if any of you know what that is. But you take an audience somewhere, capture their information to get ads to them, online digital ads, and sent to them. So we are actually geofencing around particular rodeo events. Excuse me, my asthma kicking in today. We're also going to have a country western singer who's very popular. I'm sorry, I'm not a country person, so I can't tell you the name, I can't remember it. But they are going to be performing at our new beer garden, which has been very, very popular at other fairs. So we're going to initiate that this year. We also have our new foods contest on Thursday. Oh, I should say too, we are reducing our fair a little bit. We used to do a Wednesday night. We're cutting that out and focusing on Friday through Sunday. So it will be the 24th through the 27th of September. So our new foods contest is Thursday night. Of course, our dairy show Friday and Saturday. I know some of you have participated in the milking contest. I think, Tavis, you've won it in the past.
That's right. That's
Correct.
right. I did.
Yeah. So that will be going on. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Was
you.
that last year you won?
Last year? Yeah,
Yay.
Yeah.
You got a trophy?
I still have the trophy in the office, yeah.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
KXEL is also bringing in politicians like they've done in the past, which brings a lot of attention to our fair from the outside. This year being a very strong political year with a lot of elections going on, I think that will be a really good draw too. We get to meet them, which is great, talk with them. We're turning the ag building, we think, into an ag tech area, as well as also having our regular contests there. We have our baking contest Saturday. Linda helped us with the chili cook-off last year on Sunday. We'll be doing that again. And I know we have more entries this year committed.
That's all right, I ate plenty last time.
Yeah, I know you had fun with that. But the princess and the queen and Mayor Hart at the time. Our llama show is on Saturday. We're also reaching out to a number of nonprofits to be in Estill Hall to have free booths, expanding there. And just to mention also that the county fair is coming up in 3 weeks at the fairgrounds. So I invite all of you to be there. It's really a good time too. Of course, there aren't any rides. There isn't a lot of food, but it's a good place to talk with kids. So I think that kind of covers what I was going to talk about. Do you have any questions?
What were the dates for the county fair?
It's in 3 weeks. Don't give me, I've left my phone in the car, and that's my calendar,
That's fine.
or I would have given you those dates, sorry.
No, that's fine.
I didn't mean to leave my phone in the car, it just happened.
These dollars you're asking for are specifically and only for the
Marketing.
Cattle Congress event in September.
The fair in September, marketing for that. A lot of counties spend a lot more than this, and events spend a lot more, but we're trying to be really wise with our funds.
You said that you're gonna handle all social media in-house.
Correct.
Do you have any dollars budgeted to boost posts and that sort of thing on social, or it's gonna
No.
keep it organic?
Yeah, it'd be organic. We will boost some, but we'll probably pay for that
Got
extra.
it.
It'll be outside of this.
And the summer intern, is that helping with the marketing, or is that helping with other parts of the?
They'll probably end up helping with other things as well, but they are a marketing major, so we're really excited that they can help us look beyond what we're doing now even, and maybe do some things that are very small, nominal in cost, but very helpful. I'm not a marketing major myself. Tavis knows that. I do my best. I'm learning a lot every year.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a banker, not a marketing person.
Deb, how much do you think you guys are shaving off by using the intern from you and I, doing your own brochure development, the other things that you mentioned?
We had been quoted for brochure design, $800. And brochure printing, we're kind of keeping that the same, but we think it will be lower. They were saying about 700, just shy of 700. So we're trying to shave off there as well. The intern will save us on the social media, which they had, let's see, social media graphics, $500, they had told us. And we're also doing our landing page, it's $350. So we're shaving off everywhere we can.
Okay.
Our events coordinator, Ashley Homan, is also our marketing person, a younger lady. She's graduated from UNI a couple years ago. She's amazing. She knows a lot of this and can tell us a lot of things already, but the marketing intern will also be able to help her because she isn't a marketing major. She's an events planning major.
So for marketing and this budget in particular, all right, do you have kind of like priorities? I guess if you looked at this and didn't receive the total for funding request that you were expecting or would like to have from us, are there priorities, I guess, that you've looked at with this plan that would change?
It could. We're really focusing on the digital and online presence this year. We had thought we were doing that last year, but the company wasn't really helping us along those lines. They're kind of, they were dragging their feet. So this year, with Jim Koch retiring, I got involved personally with it and said, no, we're not spending this much on radio. We're going to hire someone else to do our online, do our own social media, which they had helped us kind of design in the past. And Ashley caught on to all of that really quickly. So there could be some things we'd probably be shaving off, like some of the TV are figuring out, but we really want to focus on the online and digital products. And I can't speak all those words. That's part of the things. Those are things. Tavis knows I'm still trying to learn.
You got it.
But I did send you the packets. Last night I emailed those. They give all the detail behind this with the presentations they gave to us. And they describe, especially the on-media one, describes a lot of what they have here. So I apologize I didn't get that to you earlier, but
That's right, we can review it.
you will have it.
Thank you.
How did things turn out last year, dollar-wise, for the fair?
We came out a little ahead. We didn't lose money on the fair. We did come out a little ahead. We were hoping with some of the changes we thought we made in the marketing that we would get more traction. It didn't change a lot. And that's another reason why this year I put my foot down and said, no, this is the direction we're going. And we're hoping to get more traction this year.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just had a question on the beer garden of, go figure. Where will the beer garden be?
It's, you know where Adeline Hayes used to be, where we tore that down by the schoolhouse?
Yeah.
It will be in that area.
Got it.
And then down on the concourse between Estill Hall and the Ag Building, it will be in that whole area there.
Have you had a beer garden? Just thinking of additional revenues and that sort of thing. Have you had a true beer garden before?
It's been the pavilion, has
Yeah.
been basically our area where we sell alcohol.
Yeah.
We went to the Association of Iowa Fairs Conference in Des Moines in December, and Mark Little, who's our interim manager, he talked with a lot of people, like, you gotta have a beer garden. We make a lot of money off the beer garden. You gotta have a beer garden, because it just brings in so much money. So we're going to try that route. I don't see how we're gonna lose money on that, other than the country western singer. We do have to pay them
Sure.
for their appearance, but he did cut his cost for a 2-day event. So we appreciated that.
So that person's not performing at the beer garden, just that they'll be at the Cattle Congress
Well,
venue, and the beer garden will be going
he'll
on.
be right near the beer garden, right outside of it, from what I understand. I haven't seen I've only heard about the concept of what Mark has envisioned and what he's going to do, but he seems to have it very well planned out. I've been focusing on other areas, so.
Deb, my issue is just the restrictions we have on giving money that now we're more aware of than probably before, as far as not being able to donate dollars. You know what I mean?
I do. I know how that can be. Yeah. One of the things I provided in the past, which I thought about this morning as I was doing chores, we provided in the past to you how all the counties support their particular fairs. That $25,000 is probably maybe in the middle. Some counties go through line by line. I know Johnson County goes line by line and says, we'll give money for this item, this item, this item. They give far more than 25,000. We're just, as a fair, just going like other fairs do, to see if you'll provide support. And marketing seems to be a nice hard dollar. This is really what we're going to spend it on cost. And it's extremely helpful. It's been really tight out there. The Hippodrome and Electric Park got hit very hard by the hail, the recent hailstorm. Luckily, the insurance company's really stepping up and helping us, but it's quite expensive. Very, very expensive. So, we're kind of on a shoestring budget right now. We don't have any events in Electric Park. The number of things we can host at the Hippodrome is reduced because of large holes in the ceiling. So any funds that you can provide, we'd really appreciate, because it's really tight. And that's what fairs happen during a small time window in the year. The rest of the time we're a rental facility, and that's how we pay for capital improvements. You can see things have been declining because we can't rent the buildings out. We are doing a renovation analysis. We're talking with people in order to try to improve the fairgrounds, but it seems to be a very long process. But anything that you can provide would be greatly appreciated.
At this point in time, we're the only ones you're asking for marketing dollars? for the
Yes.
Cattle Congress. And you said you sent the email last night with the additional information?
I'm sorry?
You sent the information last night of additional information for us to
Correct.
consider?
Yeah, with the backup for everything here, the exact quotes that we received from them and exactly what they include.
I didn't receive that.
I didn't either.
I didn't see it, but I.
I sent it to, it was, Tavis, you had sent a message to schedule this, and I sent it out back to
Replied
that.
back to that?
So I apologize. But I know it went to you, Tavis, for sure, because you were on that directly. I apologize.
Yeah,
I was working on sheep all day. I got really hot.
Yeah.
It was not a good night.
Yeah. I
Like
think
cramping
for
and all that.
future, it's helpful if you send it to all the board members.
I would-
Just
yeah.
because,
I don't
you've
think
been
of-
gone and things too, but I remember initially you scheduled it.
Yeah,
And was that your request?
Yes, I
I don't
apologize.
think
I'll
any of the
remember
board-
that in the future.
That's fine. Thanks. It just
I
helps
have done that in the past.
all of us to
so-
cover.
And I'm
Yeah.
just looking back through and it doesn't.
You don't see it?
I don't see it.
Okay. It was last night, so.
Yeah, yeah, if you could
okay.
resend it, that'd be.
Yeah, if I had my phone, I'd do that, but I
Sure.
left it in the car.
And I did just forward over the sheet that you had provided, I think a couple years ago.
Oh.
No, of what other counties have funded.
Oh, I remember seeing it, but yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's
just
fine.
to refresh it.
Great. Okay. Any other questions for Deb today?
So the dollars we are looking at donating at this point, it's not a donation, we're actually saying this is for specifically for
If we-
advertising for the festival or for the fair.
That's what she's here to request for, just for the.
I just want to make sure that's
advertising.
what the motion's about.
There is no motion.
There is no motion at this point.
No, it was put on discussion, possible board action, but I
Okay.
assume since there's more information that's being provided, we
I know.
probably want to review that information before we. take
I
any
know
more.
it was in the budget. I know it was put in the budget, so.
And I'm not sure what all you were including in that, but like I said, if we have
Yep.
questions on that, we can follow up with you.
Yes,
You're the
absolutely.
contact or Mark. Okay,
Yes.
super. If that works.
Would, is 1 week fair to come back with an answer? Or do you think 2? I imagine you guys probably need, was it mid-September? Third week in September?
Yeah, it's the 24th to the 27th is the fair.
Do you think 2 weeks, within the next 2 weeks from today, with having a final answer would be a hindrance to you or no?
That would be fine,
Okay.
yeah. Could do that.
Does that work for everybody?
I'd be glad to
won't
come
be here,
back
But that's
Or did-
fine.
for that, to answer any questions, whatever you need.
It'd be helpful in having an updated list on the county's funding and for
I
fairs
will
too.
get that to you. Yeah, the Association of Iowa Fairs produces that annually. And
Okay.
I'll send you the last 5 years for anyone that can't find the prior ones. Is that okay?
That's great. Mike, if you can send around, or Michelle, the previous agreement that we had with Cattle Congress for these funds, I think that would probably be useful for us to review as well, just so that it's not viewed as strictly a donation, but there is
Yeah,
some
it's-
expectation of services. and that
Definitely not a donation, because we can't do those.
sort of- Yep.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
word should be stricken.
That's my question.
Oh, yeah. There'll be a contract for services from Michelle, for sure, and Mike.
Okay.
Davis, is it something that Experience Waterloo could help with, since it's a tourism stimulus?
We are on we're on your marketing committee.
You've
We
provided
haven't-
$500 in the past for the coloring contest, and I
Yeah.
asked Lindsay if, for 500, I can't remember what it was, for another event this year?
Yeah.
Specific event at the fair?
It gets a little I don't know, does the city use any of their discretionary funds
No.
towards it?
No.
The trickiest part for us is that, wearing both hats here, that those hotel motel dollars, they're really intended, those grants are intended for events that regenerate. And yes, there are some hotels, but it doesn't typically reach the number, that threshold.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's not stimulating the economy and that there's not impact, but from a hotel overnight standpoint, it doesn't.
Okay.
Puts people in beds in
That
restaurants.
heads and beds
Heads and
thing
beds.
that we try to get away from, but yeah, it's still there.
It's the tourism dollar.
Yep, yep.
That's all I had. for you, Deb. Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks very much
anybody
for
else?
coming today.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, moving on to item E, action planning team presentations. And I think we have them in the order that people were able to participate or timeline. So if not, we can switch up to professional development and training. Yeah, oh, did any need a break?
Keep going.
Okay.
I won't be long.
No, go ahead. Oh, perfect. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need to wait just a moment.
Since you said short, yours was gonna be kind of short anyway, so
Should
I'd
be
like you to
about-
do it.
yeah,
But I know you said, yeah, go ahead, but it's whatever you want.
Well, Anna just passed out the presentation that I'll be going over. But before we get started, I guess, just to kind of regroup on action planning. So we have 4 priorities that on our strategic plan, our 3-year strategic plan. And you'll hear from all of the champions today as to an update. If you recall, you know, the plan got pretty much rolled out about August of last year. And then that kind of kickstarted the whole action plan process, which this is the first attempt that any of us have had of the champions and the teams that were developed to support the top priorities, the top 4 priorities. So I believe we've given an update, at least 1 or maybe 2 updates before, but so this may be the 3rd or 2nd time you've heard from champions as a board. But yeah, it'll be great to hear all the updates and really kind of recommendations. It sounds like where the teams have gotten to. And I can speak for our team. We're looking for basically direction, or we're kind of pitching a direction to the board. We have what I would consider partial a draft of an action plan. But we're excited to share all the work that we've done and looking forward to hearing from the champions of the other priorities as well. But I'll go ahead and get started. So with me today, I have 2 other team members to help present, Trevor Davis of Conservation and Anna Knapp of Human Resources. And we're here to talk about priority number 2, which is professional development and training and culture of accountability. My name is Amanda Fesmeyer, representing Human Resources. So just quickly, this is the action plan team. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Al. So now you can see that, so again, just to start over here, professional development, training, culture of accountability, presented by Trevor Davis, Anna Knapp, and Amanda Fesenmeyer. This encompasses the whole action plan team that started meeting last fall for this priority. So we had a range of, roles from supervisory to employee, different tenure, and try to get a nice cross-section of various departments. What you're going to hear from us today and the purpose of our meeting is really to kind of just highlight where we started, what we learned throughout this action planning facilitation, and ultimately what we need from the board, what we're looking to ask for as to helping us to set the stage for implementing a strategic plan that aims at that 5%. If you recall, at one point in this process, we were asked by the facilitator and the board how much time, each department head elected official was asked how much time, how many resources do you have available to work on strategic planning? And the average came about 5%, which if you take that across your time in a week, it's about 2 hours a week. I will note that our plan and our priority, when it talks about professional development, training, culture of accountability, that is something that impacts everybody within our organization. Some of the other plans and priorities might be more specific, for example, like economic development. That may not hit every single employee, team, department, but our plan truly does. But we tried to keep that in mind with that we have limited resources and remind ourselves that strategic really means that it's not operational. So we're really focused on what we don't have a budget for, what we don't have a process for, at least across our entire organization. And that's what really kind of elevated this recommendation. So initially, we talked about barriers that we identified within each of these categories of our priority. And we found that While there are separate barriers, we think a solution kind of overlaps both areas for professional development, training, and culture of accountability. You can see the first barrier that we identified as a team for professional development training is inconsistent or even a lack of goal setting for that development from various levels of our organization. And we also identified that we have such a wide range of training needs. We have 15 different departments that do vastly different things. Then on the culture of accountability, we identified that one of the bigger barriers is this lack of clear expectations. And then this fear of confrontation or conflict avoidance tends to be kind of our culture of default. But why I showed it this way is that we feel that the recommendation that we're bringing forward is kind of, will actually be focused on attacking or being able to address all of these, or at least initially address all of these barriers. Things that we heard throughout this process, so part of our data gathering was talking to employees and talking to supervisory staff about these priorities. And we heard that employees expressed a desire for more internal communication with their supervisors, clear expectations, more feedback, opportunities to discuss concerns before they become a larger issue across the team. Supervisors more or less identified they want more practical coaching tools. They also need consistent expectations from the board of supervisors, from others, and greater confidence leading and coaching conversations and opportunities to practice and strengthen those coaching skills. The next part of after we identified barriers, then we started to work on solution brainstorming and identifying and prioritizing which solution was going to be pitched to the board. We had a wide range of ideas. Some were really quick wins. We kind of did it along an impact and effort analysis, which you'll hear from a little bit from Anna on that. So some were larger projects that may require, more of an investment or more like a 3-year planning horizon as opposed to something that could be within a year. But our top 2 recommended solutions chosen by the team really create this foundation and structure now that can grow into adding additional solutions over time. So here are the top 5 solutions that we identified aimed at those barriers. Number 5 is best practices for driving mission and core values and culture. This really came from the team feeling like that Leadership University was one of the better trainings that we've had across our entire organization. And we felt like, is there a space for maybe developing a culture values training or something, or a core values training that we could deploy similar to Leadership University. The 4th one is a training and development inventory or even an assessment, getting kind of a needs assessment for training and development needs at the individual level, department level, and organization level. 3rd was this goal setting idea. How do we get people setting goals, supervisors talking about goals and tracking goals in our professional development as well as accountability? But what rose to the top is we could do those first 3 things, but if we don't have this trust and accountability discussion and developing that trust across our teams, and if we don't have things like communication between supervisors and employees, dedicated, intentional conversations, those other 3 things won't be nearly as impactful. So we're starting with setting the stage, and the aim is really at building a culture of trust here. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Trevor, and he's going to dive into these 2 solutions a little bit more, and then Anna's going to go over our proposed action plan.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Trevor Davis. I'm a park ranger with Blackhawk County Conservation Board stationed at Hickory Hills Park. I had the wonderful opportunity of attending Leadership University and accountability training last fall. I was then asked to be a part of an action planning team focusing on professional development and culture of accountability. It has been an eye-opening experience working alongside Amanda, Anna, and the rest of the action planning team as a non-supervisor employee at Blackhawk County. I'm very fortunate for this opportunity here today. That being said, I'm here to tell you about a few recommendations that we believe will greatly benefit the future workplace here at Blackhawk County. Our first recommendation here is that we need to focus on building trust first. The accountability will follow. What you will see from this is more employee engagement day to day. I believe that it all starts with creating that safe space within the work environment. The safe space might look as simple as the employee knowing with full confidence that they can go to their supervisor with any questions or concerns, with full confidence knowing that they will be heard. This will create a level of trust that will then turn into holding each other accountable day to day. The supervisor role in building trust. The psychological safety in the workplace exists when employees believe they can speak up, ask questions, admit mistakes, and share ideas without fear of embarrassment, punishment, or retaliation. This level of safety begins with individual relationships. Supervisors can build trust by providing employees with a consistent, confidential space to be heard, supported, and coached. When employees feel safe to communicate openly, trust grows. Relationships strengthen, and teams perform at a higher level. Prioritizing time with the employees. Supervisors who invest time in their employees build the trust, communication, and accountability that help both people and the organization succeed. During one of our action planning sessions, we did an exercise where we wrote down barriers of trust and accountability within Blackhawk County. We then stuck them on a wall. We had to vote individually on what we thought the greatest barrier was. Time was number one by a landslide. After immense group discussion, we realized that time is not an acceptable barrier. The real barrier is lack of prioritizing time. So the saying, "I don't have time," is really a myth. What we need to say to ourselves is, "I make time for what I prioritize." To see progress in professional development and accountability, it starts with trust between supervisor and employee. That is why our team is working towards these one-on-one meetings between supervisor and employee. One-on-one conversations are an investment, not an interruption. Spending time with employees today creates clarity, trust, and accountability that saves supervisors time tomorrow. Our second recommendation is focusing on these one-on-one meetings. To get every important outcome at Blackhawk County, we must invest in building trust, starting with intentional communication between supervisors and employees. The action plan that we are focusing on is to implement a standardized, measurable, countywide one-on-one coaching process that creates regular opportunities for supervisors and employees to communicate, build trust, exchange feedback, remove barriers, and follow through with commitments. The one-on-one meetings are meant to support employee success, not catch mistakes. This will help create stronger communication and give supervisors a better understanding of what employees and teams need to succeed. One-on-one meetings are not simply conversations between supervisor and an employee. They are a leadership practice that builds trust, improves communication, and creates a stronger, more engaged team. When relationships improve at the individual level, organizational performance improves as well. The development focus here today is for employees to share what they are working on, where they feel stuck, what skills they want to build, and what support would be helpful from their supervisor. We want to use these one-on-ones as a development-first conversation. Discuss employee goals, department needs, and county priorities. Use coaching to support growth, learning, and follow-through. Identify training, resources, or barriers that may affect progress. Revisit goals regularly so development is ongoing, not just part of an annual review. All of this being said, I believe that professional development and accountability will increase in the workplace only when trust and relationships on an appropriate level get better. When the bond is strong in the workplace, more employees are apt to buy in and start to make a change for themselves and the county. Thank you for your time here today, and thank you, Amanda and Anna, for this opportunity to be a part of an amazing team that will continue to promote the growth of Blackhawk County.
Trevor, I have a question for you.
Yep.
How long have you been with conservation?
4 years.
What was it like when you got asked to be part of this team?
It really felt good because I'm from the area. I'm born and raised here in LaPorte City. It's just eye-opening to be a part of a team like this, and just feels good that they asked me to be a part of it.
I mean, you see there being benefit going forward for continued training for peers of yours and from other departments too?
Yes, yeah, so I was a part of that Leadership University and Accountability training last fall. If there's another step that we could take for those people that have been a part of that, to do another training like that, I believe that, me attending that already, I can help my coworkers and teach them about that.
I love that you guys incorporated him into that, rather than it just being department heads and such. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks, sir.
But thank you.
Morning, Board. Anna Knapp, HR Generalist. I'm just going to take a couple minutes to talk about the action plan and our recommendation for these. Just to reiterate what Trevor said, a one-on-one is really intentional time dedicated to an employee. It is one of the most effective tools to help build trust, accountability, and support employee growth and development. It's a dedicated conversation between the supervisor and employee. It focuses on communication, development, and support, not just their daily work. It's a consistent opportunity to discuss the employee's goals, challenges, feedback, and growth. A chance to strengthen trust and professional relationship. Employees don't just need direction in their roles, they need connection. Regular one-on-one conversations help create the trust, clarity, and accountability that help people perform at their best. And with that, I want to talk about what a one-on-one is not. So our intention for these one-on-ones is not for it to be a performance evaluation, a disciplinary meeting, or regular project updates, or a meeting when there's a problem. They should not be reserved for times when there is a concern or a problem. They're really set aside for development and growth for the employee. The intent for these is that the employee feels comfortable using this time to talk openly about their goals, challenges, training needs, and areas where they may need support, and to create regular practical conversations between the supervisor and the employee that is centered on their growth and development. It will help employees have a chance to reflect on what they want to learn, where they want to grow, and what success would help them be successful. Ultimately, a successful one-on-one should feel supportive and useful, like a development conversation more than a compliance requirement. For these one-on-ones, our recommended cadence is designed to balance two needs: giving employees meaningful development support while also being realistic for supervisors to maintain. This includes an initial 60-minute meeting. That's important because development conversations need time. So this initial meeting is where the supervisor and employee can step back from daily tasks and have a bigger picture discussion about strengths, career interests, training needs, and barriers. That first conversation helps create a baseline so future check-ins are more focused and productive. And then that would follow with a quarterly 30-minute check-in, which is meant for accountability without overloading the system. This gives supervisors, employees a regular opportunity to ask, are we making progress? Has anything changed? Is there a training opportunity, job shadowing, mentoring, or project assignment that would help support the employee's growth? And then it also would include ongoing support as needed. So this is additional time. All employees will need the same level of follow-up. New employees in new roles, or employees working towards a specific goal may need more frequent touch points. So the value of this model is really to create consistency across the organization. We recognize that one-on-ones are happening in pockets around the county, but we really want to build a consistency. We want every employee to have this opportunity, and we believe this model creates that consistency, but also leaves flexibility for departments and individual employees as well. With that, with the one-on-ones, there isn't much cost to this. We really thought this was the best first step because it was something that we decided was low cost or minimal cost, but a high impact. So We did put together just a cost analysis of kind of what this would look like and what the cost impact to it would be. So this kind of, I'll have a couple examples of this, but the assumptions that were used was a 60-minute meeting and then 3 quarterly meetings annually following that. And so the total meeting time is 2.5 hours. And that includes both the supervisor and employee time. And then we did use a loaded rate, assuming $50 per hour for the employee and the supervisor. So this is an example, a practical example of our auditor's office. Once again, assuming that $50 rate. With this is, I would say, like the true one-on-one model for most of our departments. So you have the elected official who has 3 managers underneath that elected official. So the elected official has one-on-ones with those 3 managers. Those 3 managers then would support and have one-on-ones with their employees. So manager A would meet with their 4 employees, manager B and C with their 2 employees. So if you look at the bottom here, the total staff time for this would be about 55 hours. Estimated cost, if you take that loaded rate, it'd be $2,750. This is just another example, but this is a little bit of a different model for some of our departments that have less supervisors and more staff. So this is the consolidated communications. Here we have 3 supervisors, director, manager, and then the shift supervisor. And then this department does have 31 employees. So each supervisor in this department would meet with a little under 10 employees. So the total staff time for this department would be 150 hours, and the estimated cost would be $7,500. So this is really just to show that this can be done in every department. It may be done a little differently on how those one-on-ones are conducted in every department, but there really is the ability to have every employee have a one-on-one with a supervisor. These are some of the one-time implementation needs for this. So in the packet that was handed to you, there is a professional development tool. This is just a rough draft of something that we hope to provide departments. So in this one-time implementation, it would include us creating a template and a guide to roll out to all departments, so that we can really support them in making sure that they are set up for success when conducting these one-on-ones. So in that template, we hope to have an agenda, sample questions, and documentation prompts, just for departments where these conversations, sometimes it's not natural in everybody's natural ability to conduct one-on-ones. So this really helps support them with that. And then also included in the one-time implementation is supervisor training. This does align with our culture team. We do have an action plan coming from that as well, where we plan to do review and practice workshops. But we hope to align those practice and workshops with the training for these one-on-ones as well. So the cost to that, we are asking for a one-time training of $15,000 for that. And then employee communication. We really want to have employees feel comfortable going into these meetings. We want to set the expectation that the purpose of these is really to promote growth and development within employees. We want to make sure that they understand that it's separate from discipline and performance management, that they're not going into these meetings feeling like they're going to be disciplined or anything like that. It's really just to focus on their growth and development in their role. And then a scheduling setup, we help to provide departments with getting these things started, with organizing how they'll roll out these one-on-ones with their employees, and also calendar blocks and things like that. So that is kind of the one-time implementation needs for this. So with that being said, we are proposing that the board move forward with considering implementing these initial 60-minute coaching sessions and 30-minute quarterly sessions following that. We hope that this will provide a consistent countywide process for development conversations, support training needs, employee-created goals, coaching, and supervisor follow-through. Like I said, we believe this is low cost and minimal workload impact, but it is really going to make an impact in the employees' professional development within the county. So now I'll leave it up if anyone has any questions, we are happy to answer that. Otherwise, we are asking if we could propose to move forward with this action plan, and we'll work on finalizing a template and getting that training set up, and hoping to get these started within the first quarter. Any questions?
I like it.
I know from past experience that a lot of the times employees just want to know they're being heard, where their concerns are at, and not just being poo-pooed off. So I think this is a great opportunity for even the lowest end of an employee in the totem pole to have a voice.
Yeah, we did here in our action planning meetings, we did survey some staff, and that was the feedback that we got from them. And then we just felt like this is really going to make a big impact and really build that connection and trust throughout departments and their supervisors. Not every employee feels comfortable going to their supervisor currently, so we hope that this will really help build that connection, and they will feel comfortable going to their supervisor and feel heard.
So this again is just a draft and really the pitch. When Anna mentioned the culture team, that is a separate team, and I just want to mention how that includes HR, Mike Hendrickson, Linda Leyland, and Gabby DeWitt. And we have kind of formulated a draft of a plan as well that's centered around this building trust and one-on-one. So it's two teams that right now, are kind of intersecting on this idea. And that $15,000 ask, that is for 3 sessions for supervisors that attended Leadership University and Accountability to have basically a workshop to practice and to learn more how to, because we understand this is kind of we aren't, like Anna said, we're doing pockets of this, but we haven't elevated it to a standard expectation that every employee here, supervisors included, like, for example, I should have a discussion like this with the board. Even elected officials could have discussions about their development, with the board. So it's not for supervisors, they also get to have these development conversations with those that they report to. But it is a change. That's what makes it strategic, is that we don't really have a process right now. We don't have a way to measure it, and that's what we want to take back to the action plan team. Like, how would we measure this? We also don't want to make it an administrative burden. So we have learned from Sheriff's Office, they have a great framework for how they have one-on-ones twice a year. And they do like a 1-page document of it. So that was kind of the basis for, well, why don't we try to deploy this on a little bit different level and focus it on development? And, we perceive that the way to track that is going to be, again, the action plan's team's responsibility to shepherd the plan and to kind of give updates as to, is it green, are we on track? Is it yellow, do we have only half the departments doing it, or is it red and no departments are doing it? So, but it is a change, but one that we think is going to give better direction as to how we create this culture of trust and create this really culture of development as well. But we know it's operational, but departments have training budgets. That is operational. I think what was unique with Leadership University was the first time that we elevated leadership training for all employees, regardless of your title. And we kind of want to keep the momentum of that going. And use what we learned from those trainings, and this is really kind of the basis of this recommendation. Everybody who was on the team had gone through Leadership University, and I believe Accountability as well. So we really tried to reflect the lessons that we took from that training, on the coaching, on the being a good listener, on accountability, that start with yourself first. It really helped shape this recommendation. We appreciate that opportunity to kind of continue to work in a way that, and really to be even propose something that we haven't ever done before.
Having the opportunity to sit in with staff in some of those training classes, I remember, Trevor, you were quite engaged in it. There was several employees I was kind of monitoring and just looking at the engagement. And I remember Trevor being very engaged with this. So I thank you for stepping up and being part of this.
You need formal direction from us then, do you?
It would be great if we get like thumbs up, this is, I mean, we could always go back to the drawing board and say, I mean, I think all the teams are looking for some kind of like, and we don't need to know today, but I will say Leadership University is slated to begin end of August through September. And if I could work in those 3 other workshops, that again, supervisors just up to attend 1 of those. But yeah, I mean, we have, this first quarter, we want to focus on kind of ramping up, getting people ready for it, and second quarter, October, we want the one-on-ones to start. But this,
Okay.
the focus of this is training people, equipping them, and then.
One recommendation on the professional development tool page you have, I'd have a second one. So you're not using the same one over and over.
Sure.
And then maybe interchange that with some different employees, so that everybody's not getting asked the same questions or same review. Maybe have 3 of them, but I mean, make it so it's not the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Give it some options, and not just the same one, everybody's gonna get the same question. Maybe intermix it. So again, that connection is not just being a cookie cutter process.
I think we're going to start with cookie cutter just because people need something like it. We talked about developing a guide with prompts, but we know the more you do this, the better you become at it. And it isn't good. Like, I've been doing one-on-ones with Anna and Terry for about 2 years. And the first, it is kind of uncomfortable. We talked about that. You start doing it, and it's kind of like, well, what do we talk about? And the more you do it, though, it really is a check-in, and it's just that space for, the supervisor and the employee to be like, all right, what's going on? What do you need help with? Or sometimes it's like a 10-minute meeting, like, everything looks good, great. And the trust, we are suggesting quarterly for development, but if you wanted to really build that trust, you actually meet it with your, should be more like monthly. And that's what the culture team, that may come from the culture team as well, but this is the minimum though that we're asking supervisors meet, and at a minimum, fill out, start talking about both, 2 coming from the employee and 1 coming from the supervisor. So, but yeah, we'll definitely look at other prompts and within that kind of toolkit.
So the $15,000 request you have there, that's on top of what we've already approved for continued training?
Yep. So, yeah, that is an addition. And that's where we kind of try to, thought, well, I can maybe find the money. I could probably find some of it in existing budgets, but we also kind of stay true to the strategic 5%. You don't have a budget, you don't have a process. And I think it helps, if we're going to continue on this process with action planning and other champs coming up through our priorities, you're likely going to get requests for funding. So, because it's not operational at this point. Whereas if I said, well, let's do and we explored even doing like a software or something like that, but we really feel like we need to start with intentional conversations before we get into some big, development software tool that will go untouched if people don't see the value in having those dedicated conversations. So that's really where to go.
We can't vote on the dollar amount today, can we, since it wasn't on the agenda? Or am I misinterpreting that?
No, you're correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
so.
we'd have to bring back like the quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as far as like this goes, I'm digging it. I'm good with this.
Okay.
If we can do that today, unless anybody has any objection to it.
Now, what we'll do, we gotta go back as a team and talk about how we actually gonna measure this. So that it is a draft of a plan, so there's some pieces that were, and like I wanna be clear about, it may be that department heads, elected officials will be coming quarterly and giving a report out to the board as to how the plan's being implemented, or, we have to give actually really probably will be us, because we're the action plan. But, we have department head meetings tomorrow, so I just really need to, yes, this feels like the right direction, but, we could, if there's something else though, we could always go back to our other top 5 solutions and that, but we appreciate what feels like the consensus.
I'm impressed with it. It's more than what I originally thought it would be.
Us too.
So,
I wish I had more thumbs.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So I think, yeah, you've got the direction, it sounds like, from everybody. I was gonna say, Chris, I know we haven't heard from you, but I think everybody's pretty pleased, I think, with what's rolled out, so at least they're going forward with it. And the next steps, I think that's great. And it is such a different philosophy, I think, that safe space environment where you're just meeting with people and talking about goals and those types of things and how you can help and the investment really that we're having in each other, and employees. Rather than the only times you hear from people is when you have the criticisms or the disciplines or the issues. So I think that's very positive.
Thank you.
Great. Were you thinking too of the 15,000 like in next year's budget? That type of a thing, like it would be budgeted then in next year?
I'm not sure because it kind of, so that's for the culture team. I think we're gonna meet either Thursday or Friday because it's kind of also coming from what the culture team discussed.
Okay.
I don't know that 15,000 will need to be in there every year, 'cause just like Leadership University, at some point we plan to take Leadership University internal. So like it might, but yeah, this, what we heard from that survey, the supervisor survey, which I want to, that's actually a separate action plan that I'd like to bring forward possibly in the next week or two from the culture team, but it really pairs well with this information. But supervisors that went through that, they're like, well, that's great, I got that training, but I need a little bit more. I need like a workshop that, and I said, okay, we'll give you a workshop, or we could ask the board for something like that, or they need more guidance. But then after that, I think that training paired with this process, the next step is really just doing it. Giving it a
But the
try.
implementation steps that you're talking about being the
Yeah.
more difficult, like you said, yeah, this is great to say, like, this is, we support this and endorse this, but now,
But now it's actually carrying it out.
Yeah,
That's
how
why
we
need
do
the
it.
board support to like help us with, that this is really truly an expectation. That it's not just another plan, it's like, nope, this is actually gonna go forward and endorsing the action plan team to help support that process. And also, of course, equipping supervisors, because we know it's a big ask on their time. Even like Dana said, it's, when you really break it down, we have a couple models for how it can be done. It's just really prioritizing the time, and that's what we need help from the board to establish this as, you know, this is actually an expectation that you're a supervisor, and this is what's expected.
see if we can get 100% participation on
Yes,
it.
that would be great. And again, not that there are people, it's not that there are plenty of these conversations that are happening, but it's not a universal,
Yeah,
you know,
it's not kind of like a
process.
standardized
It's
thing
not
that
a
we're all doing it,
standardized
it's just been so,
We
yeah.
can pull and say,
Yeah.
no, here's, and even when we go to evaluate it, it's not just, oh, a completion, it's not just a compliance thing, it's, we want to also get qualitative data from that, and we got to figure that out as an action plan team, how we're going to measure that and what we're going to do with that information. But if everybody filled out one of those forms for a year and 2 years back to back, we'd actually have a training inventory. And we would be able to direct $15,000 more across the whole organization, like how Leadership University was able to do for us. But we got to kind of sit down and talk with people and learn what their needs are and where their skill development's going, so. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board.
Morning.
Kathy Nicholas. I am one of the co-chairs of the Supporting Economic Development Action Planning Team. We were the third priority out of the four that were selected last fall to begin an action planning team work on. This is our team. Cherie Northrup is my co-chair, and TJ Koningsfeld, Garth Goodrich, Natalie Nunez, Tim Jameson, Linda Leyland, and Tavis Hall make up the team. And I also need to include Gabby DeWitt. She is our emeritus member. She has been our scribe or mentor and our cheerleader. So she's been with us the entire way, and I apologize for not including her on the slide. Collectively, we are known as CDAP, the CDAP team. We did not choreograph different speakers today, but I would certainly invite my fellow team members to to speak up as needed, to direct me in the right direction if I misspeak. So we've met about a dozen times since last November, and I'm just going to walk through the process, update you on what we've been doing. This is a really nebulous place to get started. This is just, we were not sure how to get started. There are not many of us at the county who deal with supporting economic development, who deal with economic development. A few of us dabble in it occasionally, but it was just a hard one to get started with. We first started off with defining what economic development and what that support should look like to our team as we go forward. We decided that we wanted to support businesses, enhance the quality of life, increase tourism to create opportunity, sustainability, and a stronger tax base for future generations. So we, of course, brainstormed, we got out our note cards, started taping things to the wall, what we could do as an action planning team. Some of the ideas we came up with were everything from more economic revenue for the county by supporting county events. For example, we could have county-sponsored events that would generate revenue. Planning and zoning changes, improved services, having a seat at the table, more collaboration, just really everything went onto a card and it got grouped into a category. We came up with 2 or 3 different committees at that point. And these were several themes: policy, tourism, and collaboration and communication. So once we had our little teams together, we decided we needed more information because like I said, none of us were experts in this area. So we decided to split up and start having more meetings. So we did meet with several different groups, and I'm going to talk about some of the information we found out since the beginning of the year. I know there's a lot of information on this slide. I will try not to read every single word of it, but these are just some of the outcomes we found at our meetings. So one of our first meetings was a meeting with the Waterloo Planning and Zoning group, and that would be Eric Schroeder and Joseph Heilman. Tim Jameson and TJ and I met with these fellows, and just to get more information so we'd have some direction to go. They, of course, said that we need to consider looking at the zoning ordinance, subdivision ordinance, and comprehensive land use plan. Those go together. If we're going to make any changes as a county, we should be considering this as a whole. There's a lot of information in all those documents. We got into a few of the details, such as subdivisions. Eric told us that in 2005 and 2006, there were more restrictions put in place from the original planning and zoning and land use plan that was adopted in the early 80s. There were some more restrictions put into place in the early 2000s. No major subdivisions can be built without public sewer and water, and a major subdivision is defined as no more than 3 homes. So once you get over 4, once you're into 4 homes, then it's considered a major subdivision. You need to start looking at a collective sewer and water system. We had a discussion about value-added agricultural use, such as these venues that you see popping up around the county, for example, for weddings, for different types of venues. There are a few of those that are popping up. We learned one of the restrictions is that once you get to be a certain size of a building, you need to have a sprinkler system. And that can be expensive. It can also not be supported by rural water. Rural water cannot support a sprinkler system in many cases without adding expensive pump systems. But we are starting to see a few of those pop up around the county. We discussed the role of Planning and Zoning Commission, and the Board of Adjustments. Sometimes there can be conflict when the Board of Adjustments forwards something here to the Board of Supervisors, and there can be disagreement between yourselves and the Board of Adjustment. We discussed with Eric solar, wind use, data centers. Do we need ordinances to prohibit these things or allow these things? And then, of course, we also talked about lot sizes and septic systems. And at that point, we decided we needed more information, so we went over to the health department and talked to Jared Parmeter, the environmental program manager, and he told us that most of their requirements are directly coming from the Iowa DNR. So there's not a lot of leeway in making changes to our county lot size, that type of thing. It is, a lot of it is dictated by the Iowa DNR. With him, we also talked about food home-based businesses, such as people who want to prepare and make and sell things at home, how they can support that. They've seen an increase in that type of business in the last few years. They believe that food trucks, they support food trucks, go out and do inspections on food trucks. They want to be supportive of that. They encouraged, they like those businesses. They're a good way for to spur economic growth out in the county as we see more food trucks pop up at events like Greg Bryan, Irish Fest, those types of things. They're really seeing some economic benefit by small business owners for those types of things. We ended a discussion with the Black Hawk County, the liquor license process, and Tim's really the front guy for that. So do you want to talk about that, Tim, briefly, or?
Just real briefly, our process is far more cumbersome than other counties require. Without getting into the weeds on that, I will tell you that we've got one more, we approved one today, but we've got one more Ragbri liquor license pending. That individual's based in North Liberty, and we require them to come up here to complete some steps, and he's may or may not actually follow through with the application. So the idea was just to try to make that a little more streamlined, a little more easier, just making it easier to do business with Black Hawk County, and that could extend to other areas where people do business with the county. But if we want people to come here and do events and set up businesses, we should be really easy to work with when they come in here. So that was one specific example, but I think in general the idea was, where can we make it easier to do business countywide?
So we held more meetings. Well, in one of our team meetings, we decided that we wanted to query small cities here in Black Hawk County. So Tim Jameson put together a survey and queried our small cities, including our large cities, about how we could support them in economic development. What were some ways we could do that? We did hear back from one city, LaPorte City, also Waterloo and Cedar Falls. And possibly it's because the small cities don't have the staff to have anyone to work on economic development, so they could not even fill out our questionnaire. But some of the comments that LaPorte City gave us was, of course, was money. If we could provide money to help them. Some of their specific comments were maybe the county could offer small business loans. Perhaps we could help them with emergency services, either directly or indirectly through costs, supporting them due to their increase in costs. A couple other ones were shared services with LaPorte City, and then perhaps sponsoring some economic development grants. Later on this spring, as you know, Grow Cedar Valley, they finished their large population study. A lot of us attended that meeting at Gallagher Blue Dorn. And as you recall, Katie Susong also came and presented much of the same information to you all. And they did come up with their 3 big bets. And I've listed those here for you. The first big bet is recognize that the Cedar Valley we have one vision and we are one valley. We need to be working collectively, collaboratively, speaking with one voice. The second big bet was innovation that competes, so modernizing our economy and building high-value sectors. And then the last one would be creating careers that are worth staying for, and including high opportunity career pathways that young people will want to remain in the Cedar Valley for those high value jobs. Later on in May, we did meet individually with Katie Susong and her staff at Grow Cedar Valley. We had good discussions about mostly how we could collaborate. They felt that they would like to see the county be a seat at the table in certain opportunities, such as their entrepreneurial roundtable and their Iowa Rural Development Council. So they invited us to join with them at some of these are quarterly meetings, some of them are annual. Just participate more in those meetings, those events that they hold. So just recently, in the past month or 6 weeks, we've gotten together and talked about what have we learned? What are some general conclusions we have learned we can make from all of our information gathering? One thing is that how much of a role should the county play in economic development? That is a really big question. There are some counties out there, we did not do a lot of research on this, but just in general, we queried, we know that some counties do have economic development positions. Maybe that's just one person that does economic development. To date, we have no.
Kathy, are those typically counties that don't have economic development offices in their county? And have a person on staff?
Yeah, we have to look into that
Oh,
to see.
okay.
I can't answer that.
You're in such a role, I hated to ask, but
Sorry, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. No,
Yeah,
thank you. I'm just curious.
We can look into that. To date, as you know, Blackhawk County has no central person that works on economic development. As Tim indicated, he gets involved. Some of us might get involved on very small portions of economic development. This would be up to the Board of Supervisors to decide, is this something we should be involved in? It's really difficult to pinpoint other areas besides the policies where we can have a hand in economic development. That's a generalization. We would say that there are some things coming on the horizon, for example, data centers, that we feel the county should be preparing for. I can't define what those things are, and I can't define what the preparation is. We may come back with some better clarifications and some recommendations. We have begun working on our recommendations. Our last two meetings, we have begun working on our recommendations, and these are our 6 potential action points. We would like to present to the Board of Supervisors some potential actions. They will be some very general, but we're about halfway through this list, so I decided we would just defer the whole list until possibly another month we can do our final report to you. But we are at that point where we are working on our final potential points of action. Would the team, any other member of the team care to elaborate or comment? Are there any questions for us?
I will just say, I mean, it was difficult for us to get started. We have a zoning ordinance and a land use plan that says development should occur in the cities. We don't control city policies. We can't write ordinances that control what cities do. So if we're talking about direct development, where you're talking about construction of buildings and houses, we're talking about unincorporated Blackhawk County, and we specifically have a zoning ordinance that says direct that development to the cities. So that was the framework that initially made it really hard to start figuring out where do we fit in, which is why we reached out to the cities saying, what can we do to help you? And I was a little disappointed with that feedback, I'll tell you, but maybe they struggled as much as we did trying to figure out where the county fits into that role, so.
Yeah.
But we are making headway, and we haven't given up. We're working on plans, but that was, me personally, that was the struggle initially with this.
I think that was also the feedback from Grow Cedar Valley, too, wasn't it? I was going to say that it's the land use and the development's always been directed to the cities. and only in very specific occasions been in county. Not that there hasn't been some. Some of those have usually been like the ag businesses. I'm not saying on some of those projects that really went for, and there are some counties now with data centers and stuff that people are looking at the counties instead of the cities, but right now we have city interest. But yeah, it's been very difficult. I was gonna say, it just is. I think, Kathy, the group though has learned so much and did so much homework in trying to define what that was, because we all kind of sat around and said too, this wasn't a role that the county's been involved in and has people, or, I mean, you're in economic development definitely for your roads and your trails and everything that we do. There's some components that the county's very much involved in and has been. But from what you do from an economic development standpoint of growing businesses or creating jobs and that type of thing. So it was an educational thing, probably more so than the other, the action groups, to learn what there were. And the more you dug into it, the more everybody found out other things that were out there that you could do. And I think, yeah, it was a great start, but now I could see we're like kind of defining them or filtering those, I guess, a little bit more and seeing what action steps would kind of be. I don't know, but all good information. You thought another month and you'd have more?
Yeah, yes, we,
I mean, I know.
we thought whenever we get together, there's a lot of course, there's a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
And we thought we could wrap it up last meeting, but we didn't, so that's okay. Probably 2 more meetings, 1 or 2 more meetings.
I want to thank you for all the work you put in, because this is highlighting a lot of the problems I've been seeing the last year and a half. I believe our ordinances are outdated. They're not user-friendly for economic development. Learning what I've learned from other counties here in Iowa through ISAC and some others across the country that have been involved with what county ordinances should be to help with economic development. We're not even in the same field, not even the same playground. If we want something in economic development, we're gonna have to do a lot of changing. And you guys are gonna be a pivotal part of that happening and making Blackhawk County better when it comes to the economic
I think that's
development.
gonna be the question though.
Yeah.
How much one changes. Like I said, the infrastructure and stuff isn't typically in the counties. It's going to be in your cities, and that's why more economic development occurs in your large communities anyway, and not your small. It's not rural driven.
We agree with you, Rich. Like we said, the land use plan hasn't been changed since the 80s.
Yeah.
In the 80s, there were some very definite steps taken to ensure that the farmland here in Blackhawk County is kept as farmland. And of course, that continues today. So those are the conversations that need to be had, and the public needs to speak, et cetera. But those are conversations that need to be had if changes are to be made or desired to be made.
I think those are the conversations though that have to occur between from supervisors versus mayors and city councils, because that's where the direction will come from.
But it's not just buildings. We're in a world of solar fields and wind towers. You know, we had one solar or wind tower project that was being proposed here, and we'll deal with it as it comes. We don't have something in place that encourages that,
Well, that's
or
still driven by
something
your
different.
supervisors though, and your leadership. I was gonna say,
Understand.
because that's why they have these since the 80s, because they were protecting
Yep,
the ag
farm.
land. And so if it's gonna change, that's where staff gets their direction then from your supervisors and leadership.
Right.
And if you don't want to change it, you stay the way it is, and if you do want to, then there's a lot of homework to be done to figure out how that's gonna change and where that all comes from, because it all takes money and infrastructure. And there aren't many counties that you'll really probably look at either that are out leaps and bounds doing development in their areas, except for the small, like I said, entrepreneurs, some rural, there's definitely rural development.
But I think Linda, I think that's something ISAC can help us with, in connecting with other counties, what they do have ready. I mean, I had one conversation ready at an ISAC event, just talking about what ordinances do you need to have for something like, where are we behind? And it's not just the bigger counties, smaller counties have stuff in place as well. And again, we're not even in the same playing field with them.
I'm intrigued at the policy alignment conversation, right? Because I think that that is sort of where the rubber meets the road for the board, is us to say, we want, if we're gonna change a policy from the 80s, like, we're gonna have to make that case, and we're gonna have to build a consensus amongst the board to get there, and it hopefully at least starts a conversation, or opens the door to conversations with cities to make sure that when there is a agreement that's near city infrastructure, but that's not actually within city limits, they aren't just annexing it right away, adding it into their TIF, doing all the things that puts us at a really difficult spot.
Yeah.
But we haven't really demonstrated an interest as a governmental entity that we want to be in that game. And so you almost can't even blame them, right? Stuff has an interest in coming to the region. They've got the infrastructure. There is a mechanism to annex and get into city infrastructure a little easier than what has been the county position of, don't do it here, do it within the city.
Those would be
right?
interesting conversations,
Yeah.
because I think that's where you'll get your pushback, because they've all went to the areas on the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
And they're continuing to do that,
continue to
build
do
these
it.
industrial parks.
Yeah.
And put them in areas so they are attractive to the rural concept and
Yeah.
moving in and growing. So, yeah.
Yeah, figuring out
Good.
our carrot in that conversation.
Yeah, that support of it even,
Uh-huh.
I think is, but yeah, because they can annex.
But
Interesting
even the
conversation.
point of liquor license, those are minor, relatively minor things, but can really move the needle. I think of a rather extensive trail infrastructure,
Yeah.
and the fact that we don't have as many establishments, we'll say, along that trail system as other counties have. Those dollars do actually come back in meaningful ways, especially if we could capture a couple of those in unincorporated Blackhawk County.
I think the things you mentioned too, though, like streamlining processes, is just like showing you want to help people and do the business and make it easier for them to do business with us. So, yeah, I think those are all great ideas. But, yeah, where to begin, huh?
Yeah. Well, I actually think, looking at the 6 bullet points, that feels actually as a metric to evaluate each opportunity, right? What policy needs to align? What are collaboration opportunities? What are incentives that are necessary that might in and of itself be the process that we get into economic development on a project by project basis, not to necessarily say we've got to change these 8 policies. These are 10 examples of collaboration. I don't think it needs to get super prescribed. I think this is actually a good formula to evaluate each opportunity. So the work is really solid.
The training, Kathy, I just had a question on the training that you mentioned in there. Was that for us to be offering training or to take advantage of training or?
It's more of a collaboration with local schools for retaining those that have the training. And like maybe have our employees working with the schools to kind of veer those trained individuals to come and seek employment here after they're done.
Okay, good. So you'll just get back to us when you're ready to get on the agenda again? Is that what you're thinking? Like finalize this or what are your thoughts? You said a couple more
Yes.
meetings and.
Yes, we would like to wrap it up in 1 or 2 meetings, and yes, we can certainly put it back on the agenda as a final. Will you want a written report, or what are you thinking for a final for our
For your action
teams?
plan?
Yeah, for our, and you don't have to decide that today, but yeah, that would be one of our questions.
Recommendations, I guess, would be the recommendations to
A
us.
couple of us have missed a few meetings. Perhaps if we maybe go and give you
back
some
in.
input.
Yep.
Or just, here's where we've landed, based on the whole process, what you've discovered. I think today was pretty eye-opening too. And then just leave that in our plates to figure out.
Here's the options kind of
Yeah.
thing, and what do you like or not? Okay.
So as to not be pressured with recommendations,
Yeah.
you know. I guess even two of the five of us are on that. But
Well,
anyway,
that was
so-
kind of, I think, I don't know about you, but I said I pulled back a little
Yeah, I
bit
did too.
because I said it was kind of I wanted it more committee done and not being like his opinions and my opinion as a board, because it was gonna come to all of us then for what we like or don't like or whatever, and so I think we were put on for the right reasons, but we would probably make things more confusing, but, so it was just like to not, to let the group do what they did. I think it was great, so.
We'll
Or if you want to
report
present
back.
like what
Clear
the
as
things
mud.
you are. No, but you mean like present things, you're saying not make a recommendation to us, but like here are some things
Yeah,
that we
just
could do and like what do
findings.
you want to do or what would the board like to do or then. But does that make sense? Whatever
Well,
some
we will
ideas and
definitely
thoughts
have
in
some
your minds.
recommendations.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Morning, Board.
Morning.
Brad Metcalf,
Brad.
Safety Coordinator. And we were tasked with tackling action plan group number 4, which was improving safety and security of public facilities and systems. My co-champ was Rory Gevings, and then we had Clint Hardman, Jared Parmenter, Justin Stafford, Carl Kozak, Mindy Benson, and Ryan Brennan and myself to make up the team. So we met 8 times, and we sent out employee surveys to department heads to have a couple, 3 people in each of their department fill out for us, just to get some feedback on kind of how everybody generally feels in the buildings. Overall, everybody felt generally pretty safe. There definitely are some differences between departments. Some of the more public-facing ones, I think, have a little bit more of a challenge to do some of the trainings, where some of the others are very robust. So going through all of our storyboarding and all that, we basically got down to these 2 main areas is to try to define the priority, being employee training and preparedness as one, and then the actual building and facility safety being the other. So, and we also had Homeland Security come through and do vulnerability assessments here, Pinecrest, Hartman Reserve, the VA, and the Longfellow Shop. So we've got their findings back, and we took all that into account as well. So our first action plan regarding employee training and preparedness is we recommend we create an annual countywide safety and training day so that we can get all county employees going through the same program. We can do CPR, stop the bleed, active assailant response, fire safety, tornado and fire, that type of thing. That would obviously take some doing, but we think if we could get a plan like that in place, it would definitely be worthwhile.
So some of you may recall back in 2018, we did have a active assailant response training for all staff, and we were able to close the courthouse down for that day. And then we also did it over at the Pinecrest facility. The thing that really struck me with both of those sites was the feedback that we got. We had a lot of very positive feedback with that training. It's amazing how fast time goes by, but that particular portion of this, I just wanted to let you know that we have done that in the past. It is doable.
So the, the annual Safety Day proposed program would include the 1 day each year. We would close the courthouse to the public and have the county departments all participate, and the state offices, if they're available. That would be the goal, is to try to coordinate it so that it will work for everybody, since they are tenants with us. We're envisioning, breakouts throughout the building. Have, CPR in the basement doing 3 or 4 sessions of that. You could have EMA doing stop the bleed in another part of the building. We could even use both facilities. We could use here and Pinecrest, or we could go to Hartman, or assuming Mike would let us. But I mean, there's a lot of different things that could be tackled in that day. IMWCA, they've been great to work with. I'm sure we could partner with them on a lot of different things. Same with ICAP. We could go, like I said, go through all the emergency drills. We could have some outside agencies do demonstrations or training. I know we've worked with Waterloo Fire in the past as far as doing fire extinguisher trainings. They've been great to work with. And it would offer some good department networking as well. And some of the benefits of that day, we could get that consistent training between all the different departments, everybody on the same page. It would improve emergency response, greater employee confidence. That was the one thing in some of the surveys. Some people felt they knew exactly what to do, and others were a little unsure. So, get improved CPR and life-saving skills. We can develop OSHA best practices, just general risk reduction, and just trying to build a stronger safety culture. And the long-term sustainability of that would be, we could have the safety committee kind of run that and just take that on as some of their tasks. They could develop future curriculum, collect feedback, try to come up with new ideas and as far as, what the new risks that we're seeing are. We can coordinate instructors and then again, recommend annual topics. And then the one thing also about the instructors, there's a lot of county staff that we could call on to do those trainings between the health department, sheriff's department, that type of thing. So the goal would be to try to do as much of it in-house as we could, but I'm sure there would be some specialty trainings that we would have to look outside. And the main goal of that would also be to create a predictable annual training calendar that departments can plan around every year, as well as supporting the number 4 priority of improving safety and security. So if the folks inside are feeling safe and secure, it's going to, I think, overall help the facility piece as well. So, and the other part of this one is of the action plan. Number 2 is the actual buildings and facilities. We're looking at modernizing the county security through technology, communication, and proactive threat detection. Some of the focus areas there would be, and these came from the Homeland Security. They were really big on video analytics. We have all these cameras, but all they do is record everything. There's really nothing monitoring other than the occasional set of eyes from the facilities. We could definitely use some improvements in our emergency mass notifications, whether it be directly in the building or staff that's remote, trying to get a hold of people, that type of thing. The other area of focus would be building security. We'll try to use artificial intelligence and then also threat detection. So the video analytics piece, they help detect unusual activity. It helps with people counting, loitering alerts, after hours activity, unauthorized access, and then objects left behind alerts, and then also vehicle monitoring. So, and the mass communication piece, there's a ton of different software out there to help to send out either fire alarm or tornado drills, active shooter alarm. I mean, there's just, it's an amazing amount of software that's available for that type of stuff. We could link it to digital signage here in the building. It could be speakers, all that type of thing. We'll also discuss the possibility of adding an internal and public-facing county app. I know Quad Cities has that. I think it's called Ready QC. It's between Scott County and Rock Island County, I believe. They share it together. If you get a chance to check it out, there's a ton of information on there. It would work great for Gabby. A lot of just general information, but there's also emergency information there as well. So that's something that we kind of discussed. Let's see.
What was that called, Brad?
Ready QC. And some of the security enhancements, we talked about upgrading metal detectors, which is in the funds for this year, I believe. And there's also more modern detecting equipment. There's actual weapons detections. It's supposed to be a little less invasive. So I think we have one of those.
We do. We have 2 weapons detections. They're portable systems. So what the sheriff's department does is they use them for their courtrooms. If there's a high-profile case, they'll actually wheel them over here and set them in front of the courts. Those are more of the weapons detection type of system versus what, looking for like non-ferrous metals versus what we have here for a metal detector. The other issue with our metal detector too is it does create a bottleneck for entering into the building if you had particularly for a wheelchair. And so going with something like this would give us a little bit more flexibility there.
With, on the metal detection and weapon detection side, I don't, it's just a question of a guy that doesn't know. With like the proliferation of like 3D printed guns that wouldn't necessarily, I would assume, wouldn't come through or wouldn't be detected with traditional metal detectors, are there systems available?
We're still looking into the AI portion of it. I know they say non-ferrous metals. To what extent, that is something we still need to look into, because I know with technology nowadays, like you just said, it's very challenging, which then rolls, I think, into one of the other slides here, looking at our security and maybe how we're utilizing that frontline security as well. Maybe more focus on items coming in through X-ray.
Yeah, I believe there is some technology out there that is supposed to be detecting that.
Sure.
We didn't get real deep into the woods with vendors because there's so many, and we kind of wanted to get some direction before we went that far. Visitor management is one piece that we've learned about that would be kind of interesting, especially over at like Pinecrest, where we don't have as much flow going through. It might be a challenge here with the amount of folks coming and going, but those are systems out there. And then the access control integration. A lot of times these all tying together, like the camera system and the door locks and that type of thing are all linked together. So, and then there's emergency response dashboards available. And that all just helps with the real-time situational awareness. So, and we also, there's the law enforcement officers handling security, as we've kind of previously discussed here. We're not really sure where that all is with things, but that's definitely an option to be discussed. So I recommended next steps for action plan number 1. If we could get the blessing to develop that safety day curriculum and then actually start a date and then just getting all that in place. My understanding is, I don't want to verify with Linda, but I think she said January 14th and 15th, their state system is going to be down, so she won't be able to do registrations and that type of thing. So I thought that might be a good target date if it would work out for everybody else. And then the action plan number 2, assess our existing camera capabilities, and then start to evaluate video analytics vendors, review our communications platform, and then start to figure out funding and then how we would go about implementing that. So, anything else I'm missing, Roy? Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Lots to ponder.
Did such a
Thanks,
great
Brad.
job, we have no questions.
I did a tour 2 weeks ago of the new Waterloo High School. And I didn't realize this until then, but every high school graduate is required to have CPR training now.
Really?
I thought was every one of them, which is shocking because I'll admit I would have no idea.
Yeah.
What to do if somebody needed it. So I was intrigued about workplaces and the ability to either require or at least incentivize and allow for certification across the board. Yeah.
The floor is yours, Caitlin.
Okay, you bet it is.
Good morning, Caitlin Emmerich with Blackhawk County Public Health. I'm one of the co-champs for the Support Mental Health Action Plans, which is priority number 1. And I requested to go last actually because I believe we have a final comprehensive plan to present. And so I just want to yep, go ahead now, thank you. I just want to recognize our planning team members. So we have Supervisor Grant, Lisa Sesterhan, also from Public Health, Colleen from General Assistance, and Cherry Gallmeyer from Human Resources. Both of them are here in the room to support, answer questions, whatever is needed. We have several members, I think they're online. I haven't checked, but I know that a couple of them are just going to join online. Jackie Bailey, our mental health advocate, Jess Roush from the Sheriff's Office, Carla Altenbaumer from the Sheriff's Office, and Heather Jackson Briggs from County Attorney's Office. So this action planning team began meeting in October. We finished up our meetings in June. We had 8 formal meetings plus homework plus separate meetings that were to develop the strategy action plans. So it's been a heavy lift from this team. The first thing that we kind of tackled as a team was to wrap our hands around what does support mental health mean for developing an action plan. So similar to the economic development group, this is something that goes beyond county operations or normal county operations. So we really wanted to clarify our goal, or clarify our role, excuse me. So we kind of decided that our role is not to replace existing providers within the mental health system, rather to lead, connect, and strengthen the mental health ecosystem. So we, as a county, can help ensure services are coordinated, data-driven, equitable, and focused on prevention as well as care. So I think by this point, you're probably familiar with the routine of barrier and solution identification, so I can go through these pretty quickly. But we did begin with barriers, so what's getting in the way? Why haven't we accomplished this already? Did some brainstorming and identified the top 2 barriers of prevention and education and collaboration. Then we moved into solution identification for collaboration and came up with some themes, including shared understanding of scope, the county as the role of convener, workflow consistency, and internal collaboration. For the second solution, identification, prevention, and education, we came up with the hub, which is kind of like a centralized location for where resources would be available. Youth-focused education, community engagement, education, and workplace policy. And then as we began to go into strategy development after our barrier and solution brainstorming, the planning groups used a common action planning worksheet to identify what was already underway, where the county has authority or infrastructure, what gaps the county can fill, what must exist for the strategy to work, and what risks or ownership issues may affect implementation. The draft plans were then tightened and harmonized into consistent format so each strategy can stand on its own while also being viewed as part of one integrated 3-year project plan. The quarterly timeline begins July 1st of 2026, so we just decided we were going to start with the fiscal year and runs through June 30 of 2029, so that 3-year project plan. Resource entries are planning level descriptions of the types of staff time, partner participation, tools, or supports that are likely to be needed. Dollar amounts are not included in the plan. Strategies were then reviewed as a whole by the planning group to assess for appropriateness of scope, feasibility, partnerships and dependencies, indicators and data readiness, risks and mitigation needs, and sustainability and governance considerations. So there are 5 strategies in total. They're just A, B, C, D, E. That's how we keep them separate. So strategy A is the first strategy. Strategy A focuses on the plan for Blackhawk County to strengthen countywide integration of mental health within existing care coordination and navigation efforts. So individuals and families can access accurate information, timely referrals, and appropriate supports through any entry point without duplicating systems already underway at the state or the community level. This strategy focuses on alignment, integration, and infrastructure support, not building a new standalone system. The county's role is to understand what exists, to reduce fragmentation where it has authority, and ensure county-connected systems like criminal justice, public assistance, and public health are effectively linked to broader behavioral health navigation efforts. So I've kind of summarized the content that's on the slide here. But one thing I just wanted to point out is at the bottom of every slide, there's a primary leads section, which if you refer to the action plan, you'll see that we've identified which county departments would be part of each strategy within the plan. So strategy B focuses on collective prevention, mental health literacy, and resilience. Blackhawk County will serve as a neutral convener and backbone organization to align partners around mental health prevention, literacy, stigma reduction, and resilience, leveraging existing community and school-based efforts rather than duplicating services. This work is partially underway already by Tom Ekus at Blackhawk County Grundy Mental Health and Vicki Mueller at Pathways Behavioral Services, who recently rejuvenated a behavioral health coalition in early 2026. The action planning team proposes that this strategy would align closely with the activities of that coalition. Strategy C focuses on Blackhawk County's role to strengthen coordination, shared understanding, and system workflows before jail booking at the intersection of mental health, law enforcement, emergency response, and community crisis supports to reduce unnecessary justice involvement and improve continuity of care. This strategy intentionally prioritizes the early sequential intercept model, or SIM, which is pictured on the slides, the graphic representation of it. The SIM points intercepts 0 and 1, where prevention, diversion, and crisis response can have the greatest impact. Later intercepts, including jail and reentry, may be addressed in future phases, but are not the primary focus of the plan. Strategy D focuses on Blackhawk County's role as an employer, policy setting organization, and model for other community organizations and workplaces. Blackhawk County will strengthen mental health and well-being supports for county employees by assessing gaps, improving awareness and access to benefits, training supervisors, and modeling best practices as a public employer. And the final strategy, strategy E, focuses on the county's role as a data steward, policy leader, and funder aligner. Blackhawk County will strengthen mental health prevention, transparency, and accountability by improving access to meaningful data, establishing practical policy and data use frameworks, and supporting universal access to evidence-based self-help resources. This strategy emphasizes prevention and early support alongside treatment-focused systems. The plan is broken into suggestion actions by quarter, so the full implementation sequence can be visualized. Planning level resources are named to support implementation discussions, but again, do not include the dollar amounts. So for a reference of actions by quarter, there is a Gantt-style project plan at the end of the action plan document, which board members have in front of them. Actions are sequenced, so year 1 emphasizes inventories, mapping, shared definitions, baseline data, and minimum viable structures. Year 2 then shifts into piloting, aligning training and messaging, data hub development, resource visibility, and targeted integration with existing systems. And then year 3 emphasizes evaluation, formalization, sustainability decisions, policy and funding alignment, and then next cycle planning. Another thing the team looked at was the capacity and dependencies that are part of the action plan. So successful implementation must account for current capacity within county department and staff, and then identify those dependencies on external partners as well. So the departments that are identified as key capacity areas throughout the plan include public health, information technology, human resources, and the sheriff's office. The mental health advocate and general assistance programs, which are individual roles, are also integral to successful implementation of the plan. Key partners include behavioral health district partners, Iowa Primary Care Association as the behavioral health system alignment lead, crisis centers, school districts, law enforcement agencies, and then additional community partners include but are not limited to Alive and Running, ISU Extension, the Water Youth City Council, Success Street, area education agencies, youth serving partners, Elevate, Blackhawk County Mental Health, Pathways Behavioral Health, Allen Mental Health Walk-in Clinic, crisis providers, and emergency response providers. So there are a lot of external partners that are critical to the successful implementation of the plan. Primary success indicators for each strategy are listed here. So for strategy A, we're looking for clear navigation pathways for residents. For B, a functional prevention coalition, which has already begun. Training alignment and shared messaging. For strategy C, success looks like reduced unnecessary pre-booking justice involvement. For D, it's higher employee awareness and utilization of the mental health supports. And for E, a data hub which includes mental health indicators and routine reporting. So, tried to present some decisions needed from the board since this is our final draft of the action plan to be presented to the board. So we're looking for feedback and approval, not today, but eventual approval, support for those cross-system convenings that are really integral to success of the plan, resource alignment, agreement on what that governance and oversight structure looks like moving forward, and then guidance on sustainability expectations. So a couple of the strategies have pilots as part of the action plan, and then after the pilot occurs, there will need to be decisions made on, kind of whether to operationalize that pilot or go back to the drawing board. And then similarly, next steps are to receive the feedback, make final revisions based on guidance, then begin to communicate our plan with the key partners and adjust as necessary because our key partners have not seen this plan yet. We've consulted with them along the way. I just spoke at the Behavioral Health Coalition meeting last month and shared with them that we proposed that their work be part of the plan, but they've actually not seen the plan. So we will need to present it to them, adjust the plan as necessary to make sure it aligns with that coalition. And we'd like to begin Q1 actions now, or as soon as it's approved by the board, and then establish that reporting and review cadence so we can know the expectations for bringing back reports and reviewing the plan. Any questions for the team?
Totally impressed how much you put together here.
Well, I will say this has definitely been a group effort. It's been a big time commitment for our planning committee planning committee members. My gosh, I can't get that spit out. And much like Kathy, I didn't include Gabby on the slide of our team members, but Gabby has kept us going. In fact, she's the reason we even had a last meeting. She planned that for us. So it's been a lot of input that has gone into the development of the plan by all team members. I will say Lisa Sesterhen from the Public Health Office, her official role is a public health planner, and her strengths shined for the development of the action plan. The action plan is Lisa's work. She gets credit for pulling it all together. So we're, I think, uniquely benefited by having a planner as part of our team. Yep.
Yeah, really hard to believe you said you met only 8 times.
Yeah.
Well, plus the strategy development meetings, so there were more than 8, but yeah.
Kaylin, listening to other counties and how they're struggling with stuff, we're probably going to be groundbreaking right here with other counties that are going to want to follow this, so.
I hope so.
My biggest
Yeah.
concern is we'll have to deal with another big change from legislature to screw everything up again. So keep that in mind if we have to pivot
Yeah.
on legislative changes, but this is very impressive. You guys done, from what we started with this being one of our priorities to where you've put this now, I was lost on where it was gonna go. And now seeing this, I'm totally impressed. So I think we got something really good here.
And you thought you were gonna probably be a pretty strong leader in the hub, I was gonna say, of alignment anyway, as it goes. It seemed to be that you were having a pretty strong,
Yeah, well, behavioral health system alignment is not an area that public health has been in strongly. That's really the Iowa Primary Care Association as their role as the, I forget the acronym, the ASO, I can't remember what it stands for, statewide. So we did incorporate Iowa Primary Care Association as a key partner in the plan because of the leadership that they have in this space and quite honestly, the influence that they have in this space. But I will say there are lessons learned that we hope to incorporate with public health system alignment, yeah.
oh, sure.
Yeah, my hat goes off to you and Lisa and the rest of the team. There was a minimum of 8 meetings, and I did not attend 8 meetings. I don't know how many, but I mean, all the credit goes to you guys because I feel like I contributed virtually nothing to any of that. And just how deep down you guys got into that to discover this stuff is mind-blowing. I mean, I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's very impressive. And I second what Rich was saying.
Yeah. The people that we had were the right people to have at the table because I know nothing about law enforcement and criminal justice programs. So when we had those conversations, I was in a fish out of water space, and it was really good that we had the right people with different perspectives to give input of like, well, this is what happens. This is like what people experience in the system and what we might be able to do to help them. And so, yeah, I believe that our people are our best asset, and this is a shining example of how people are our best asset because the input that went into this plan, I think, was the right input.
Yeah. Just seeing how you rolled out from the beginning with the cars, similarly to what Ted did and with the trainings. I mean, it was just so well organized. Very impressed.
Thank you.
I don't know that all groups did that, but just about everybody
think
in the
everybody
group
did.
did the storyboarding kind of
Yeah.
thing. So they were continuing to use that in their planning, so yeah, very impressive. I think everybody's work, very impressive. Like I say, the work that you've done just to keep everybody's up to here with work. I know it's been a very busy year, but adding all of this to your plates and seeing what kind of information that you've provided to us and ideas and thoughts for going forward, I just think you all should feel great about the work you've done and the progress you've made. So can't thank you enough.
I'm guessing you're probably going to need some time to digest the content of the action plan. It's not a short one. So I think my ask is just when you're ready to get to those last couple of slides of decisions needed and next steps,
Yeah.
we're available.
I think it may even take, after we absorb some of this, like another session for clarification or to make sure that we understand or what direction we'd like to see, unless we all decide that this is somewhere to go, that we might need another kind of a work session to some of these, definitely to help us and answer questions too. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. A little longer meeting than we thought, because a lot of information, I think, than all of you thought today, too. People were saying, no, Kathy said she'd have the shortest presentation and only be a few minutes, and I knew Caitlin said 20, and so thank you all.
Doesn't sound like there's any reports from the board, so.
Only 2. And it's going to be quick, just because Michelle sent out an email, and I said I mentioned about the carryover policy. Remember, it was kind of like talking about that. So it was just to say, the 28th, she said, she had some vacation time and had some family plans and things going, so couldn't do it right away, but if the 28th would work. And I don't know if you wanted to say anything, Michelle, I guess, about what you'd expect from us. I guess I've taken a look and thoughts about it, but what you want from us on the 28th or...
Oh, when we met the last time, I think the conversation among you was that you wanted
input,
some time and to come back with input at one more meeting. So I would be anticipating you as a group deciding what direction you want to provide about that policy.
Does that work for everybody on that date to come back and
28th.
kind of plan on
The
it?
28th, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's enough time to accumulate everything.
That was it. And the only other thing was, welcome back, Mike, but I wanted to say, last week we had that dangerous dog ordinance thing, and so of course we were gonna be having discussions with you on that going forward, and information that Heather was good to provide us. She provided you, I'm assuming, so.
Yeah, I've reached out to the Story County Civil Attorney to see how their ordinance has been working out for them. And I've actually begun review of that as kind of a model ordinance. We'll go kind of from there. We're gonna start with something we already know exists and
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
How soon do you see us having something for us, Mike?
well, it's a bit more complicated than it seems like it should be. My hope is to reach out to some other individuals yet this week, but interruptions do happen and there are other things on the plate. For example, I want to run a couple of things by people in health because they deal to some extent with certain aspects that are dealt with under an animal control ordinance. I also want to make sure that I inquire the board as to, areas that I see as potential snagging points. For example, are we going to designate an animal control officer, or do we have a specific, just maybe we'll do something general, like say, well, the animal control officer is whoever the sheriff designates on a particular occasion to be that, or something like that. So there are a lot of different things when I look at this model ordinance and others that we're going to have to kind of flesh through, but there are a few responses I may need from others before I reach out to the board on it. All right?
Okay.
I'm hoping to have at least all of those feelers sent out yet this week, and then to be reaching out to the board either end of this week or by early next week, or by middle of next week. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was it. Thanks. Unless anybody else has anything?
I just want to again thank all the staff for all your work on this stuff. When we were putting these items together, this is just mind-blowing from taking the idea to what you put together. Thank you. Again, it just shows how amazing our staff is here in this county. I'm truly impressed with what we had today.
Here, here. Thank you all again. And motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.